Hey there, let me ask you something. Ever feel like your energy, your mood, your focus is just being held hostage by your gut? Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. We're about to unlock your gut's operating manual, so let's dive right in and see what's inside.
Now, that's not a line from some horror movie, it's a biological reality. You see, when we starve our internal ecosystem, those trillions of bacteria living inside us, they stop helping and they start hurting. They literally start digesting the protective lining of our own intestines. And yeah, this internal cannibalism really, it's the hidden trigger behind some of the most frustrating things we deal with every day. You know what I'm talking about, right? That brain fog where simple tasks just feel impossible, the stubborn bloating that has you second-guessing your outfit, and that deep chronic fatigue, the kind that makes 3 p.m. feel like midnight. Sound familiar? But look, here's the good news. Your gut, it isn't some black box, some mystery you can never solve. It's a system. And like any system, it has rules. It actually has an operating manual. And once you understand the instructions, you can start making it work for you instead of against you.
So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to meet the gut's forgotten cleaning crew. Then we'll learn how to cultivate our own internal garden. After that, we'll expose the hidden saboteurs that can undo all our good work. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a simple daily action plan. Ready? All right, let's jump into the first mechanism. This is one that is almost completely ignored, but honestly, it's probably the most important cleaner you've got. It's called the migrating motor complex, or MMC for short. The easiest way to think about it, it's like your internal street sweeper. So after you've digested a meal, this powerful wave just moves through your small intestine, sweeping everything clean, pushing leftover food, bacteria, all that debris down into the colon where it belongs. It's this deep cleaning function that is just absolutely essential. Okay, but here's the catch, and this is the really crucial part. The street sweeper only comes out to work when the street is empty. The moment you eat anything, I mean even a handful of nuts or a sip of a smoothie, that cleaning cycle immediately stops, dead in its tracks. So in our world of constant grazing and snacking, our cleaning crew never even gets a chance to clock in. The power switch is just stuck in the off position.
So, how do we turn it back on? Well, it's a pretty simple 4-step process. First, you finish your meal. Easy enough. Then, you have to wait. Your stomach has to be empty, and that takes about 90 to 120 minutes. Only then does the street sweeper actually activate, and once it starts, the full cleaning cycle takes another 90 minutes to complete. So, when you space your meals by 4 to 5 hours, you're actually giving this whole process a chance to run its course. You know that rumbling you sometimes feel between meals? Guess what? That's not always hunger. A lot of the time, that's just the sound of the street sweeper finally getting to do its job.
Okay, so now that we've cleaned the house, it's time to talk about who actually lives there. I want you to stop thinking of your gut as just some simple tube. Instead, picture it as this thriving internal garden, home to trillions of microorganisms. And the health of this whole garden, it really just comes down to one key principle.
And this is it. This number is the single most important number for your gut health. And that's according to the massive American Gut Project. It's not your weight, it's not your age, it's not even whether you take probiotics. It's this one number, 30. So what's the deal with 30? Well, the goal is to eat 30 or more different types of plants every single week. And why? It's simple, really. Different bacteria eat different things. The little guys that love broccoli are totally different from the ones that thrive on walnuts or cilantro. So by eating a wide variety, you're feeding a really diverse ecosystem. You're building this strong, resilient internal garden that naturally crowds out the weeds, the bad bacteria.
Now I know, 30 can sound like a lot. It might seem intimidating at first, but it's way more achievable than you think, especially when you remember that herbs, spices, nuts, and seeds all count towards that total. Using a simple checklist, kind of like this one, can be a total game changer. It really helps you focus not just on eating more plants, but on eating more kinds of plants.
Okay, so you're spacing your meals, you're eating a huge variety of plants, you think you're doing everything right. But hold on. We need to talk about 3 hidden saboteurs that can come in and undermine all that hard work. Let's talk about rhythm, stress, and toxins.
First up is rhythm. It turns out your gut runs on a clock, just like you do. Think of it like a factory. During the day, you've got the full day shift, fully staffed, super efficient. But at night, you're left with a skeleton crew. So when you eat a big, heavy meal late at night, you're basically dumping a massive workload on a team that's already clocked out for the day. That food just sits there longer, and your body can't focus on all the important repair work it's supposed to be doing overnight.
All right, next up, stress. Your brain and your gut have this direct hotline connecting them, and it's called the vagus nerve. The best way to think of it is as a master switch. When you're stressed out, and it doesn't matter if you're running from a lion or just running from a stressful email, your body flips that switch to fight or flight mode. And when that happens, all your energy gets diverted to your muscles, and digestion, well, it gets shut down completely.
So how do we manually flip that switch back to rest and digest mode? It's actually incredibly simple. Before you take your very first bite of a meal, just pause. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. And here's the key. Make sure your exhale is longer than your inhale. This tiny 30-second action physically stimulates that vagus nerve, and it sends a powerful signal to your brain that says, hey, we're safe. You can turn digestion back on now.
And finally, let's talk about toxins. I want you to think of these as daily chemical assaults on that internal garden of yours. Things like unnecessary antibiotics can act like a forest fire, just wiping out everything, good and bad bacteria alike. Pesticides on our produce, especially on the dirty dozen list, like strawberries and spinach. I mean, those are literally designed to kill living things. And even something as simple as the chlorine in your tap water can throw off that delicate microbial balance. So the best strategy here is just a good defense. Be mindful of antibiotic use, wash your produce really well, and maybe consider filtering your water.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? We've talked about the street sweeper, the garden, and those sneaky saboteurs. So now, let's bring it all together into a simple plan that you can start using, like today.
So here it is. This is your complete toolkit for gut health. To get that street sweeper working, space your meals 4 to 5 hours apart, no grazing. To cultivate your internal garden, aim for 30+ unique plants every week. To honor your gut's rhythm, finish eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. To flip that on-off switch, just take 3 deep breaths before each meal. And to reduce the toxin load, filter your water and wash your produce. You know, when you see it all laid out like this, it's not really that complicated, is it?
And you know what the best part of all this is? The beauty of the gut is that it is incredibly forgiving. The cells that line your intestines, they literally replace themselves every few days. It has this amazing built-in capacity to heal and regenerate, as long as you give it the right conditions to do so.
Look, at the end of the day, this isn't about some dramatic 7-day detox or quick fix. True, lasting health, it's built in the quiet, daily decisions that nobody else even sees. It's the choice to wait just another hour before snacking, the choice to add some extra herbs to your meal, the choice to just take a moment and breathe. These small actions, they build incredible resilience over time.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Looking at these 5 mechanisms we've talked about, the street sweeper, the garden, the rhythm, the on-off switch, and the toxins, which one of those is your weakest link right now? Because just identifying that, well, that's the first real step to taking back control of your health.